In about 300 BC, a philosopher called Aristarchus was fascinated by eclipses. Aristarchus was a true scientific pioneer. He studied the heavens carefully and reached a bold conclusion. He realized the eclipse was actually the shadow of the Earth passing over the moon, and not a divine event. Liberated by this discovery, he was able to work out what was really going on above his head and draw diagrams that showed the true relationship of the sun, the Earth, and the moon. From there, he reached even more remarkable conclusions. He deduced that the Earth was not the center of the universe as everyone had thought, but instead orbits the sun. In fact, understanding this arrangement explains all eclipses. When the moon casts its shadow on the Earth, that's a solar eclipse. And when the Earth shades the moon, that's a lunar eclipse. But Aristarchus took it even further. He suggested the stars were not chinks in the floor of heaven, as his contemporaries believed, but that stars were other suns like ours, only a very long way away. What a stunning realization it must have been. The universe is a machine, governed by principles or laws, laws that can be understood by the human mind. What could cause the spontaneous appearance of a universe? At first, it seems a baffling problem. After all, in our daily lives, things don't simply materialize out of the blue. You can't just click your fingers and summon up a cup of coffee when you feel like one, can you? You have to make it out of other stuff, like coffee beans, water, perhaps some milk and sugar. But travel down into this coffee cup, through the milk particles, down to the atomic level, and right down to the subatomic level. And you enter a world where conjuring something out of nothing is possible, at least for a short while. That's because at this scale, particles such as protons behave according to the laws of nature we call quantum mechanics. And they really can appear at random. Stick around for a while, and then vanish again, to reappear somewhere else. Since we know the universe itself was once very small, smaller than a proton, in fact, this means something quite remarkable. It means the universe itself, in all of its mind-boggling vastness and complexity, can simply have popped into existence without violating the known laws of nature.
Dwarf planets defy many of the rules we thought governed our solar system.
Dwarf planets are very interesting bodies scientifically. But beyond that, they tell us something about the origin of our own world. Believe it or not, they may harbor life.
Dwarf planets are rattling the cages of scientists and shaking up our understanding of how the universe works. They may have fed the early planets and even seeded them with the precursors of life. Dwarf planets just may be the most important objects in the solar system. Our solar system has 8 confirmed major planets. But we're discovering many other small worlds called dwarf planets. We used to think they were just dull lumps of rock. But the more we study them, the more shocking and intriguing they become.
Naively, I would expect these objects to not be terribly dynamic. They're probably just, airless, rocky, icy worlds, and they're just sitting there. And what we're finding out is that that is not true at all. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
They're full worlds with really interesting geology and interesting histories that can tell us a lot about the solar system.
Scientists believe there may be hundreds of dwarf planets in our solar system. So far, we've only recognized 6. 5 of them, Pluto with its moon Charon, red-colored Sedna, bright, distant Eris, Makemake, and the bean-shaped Haumea, live billions of kilometers from the Sun, out beyond Neptune in the Kuiper Belt.
And Ceres, we thought, would basically be a big dead rock. It's a small body. It should have cooled off long ago. Nothing very interesting is going on. And when we actually got out to Ceres, nothing could have been further from the truth.
In March 2015, NASA's Dawn probe arrived at Ceres.
As the Dawn spacecraft pulled up to Ceres, we saw the craters and the surface that we expected to see. And then all of a sudden, something totally mysterious rotated into view. One of the craters had 2 bright spots, almost like 2 eyes staring right back at us.
It was such a puzzle to the science community because what are these doing here? Are they ice? It looks very fresh. What on earth could it be?
Scientists discover over 100 of these mysterious white spots. The largest is in a 90-kilometer-wide crater called Okator. And unexpectedly, they're made up of a substance we find on Earth: sodium carbonate, a type of salt.